Hello everybody and welcome back for another video. Just playing this little musical ditty in homage to the Russian miniature we're going to look at. Now this is a really cool game and let's just jump into it. So it starts off with e4, c5, just a standard Sicilian. And then after we get these moves, which you've probably seen a million times, we just see defending the e4 pawn and it proceeds rather normally. All right, so he goes for this kind of Fischer variation with bishop to c4 that you don't really see much anymore. Now, this used to be played a lot in the 60s, which is when this game was played, and simply for the fact that it's very solid, but I'm sure the more dynamic Najdorf is seen, as well as this Sveshnikov seems to be kind of the fashion nowadays. But, you know, it's not always objective about these variations. It has a lot to do with just chess style. All right, so castles, develops bishop, castles, bishop back, obviously preparing or preventing, I guess, the d5 push as well as the threats along the c file later, just solidifying this bishop. And after a6, we see f4. White is showing aggressive intention in this game. He wants to attack on the king side. And after he'll move the queen, then basically he'll be completely ready to just push all these pawns, which is a standard plan as white in this variation. All right, so then we see d5 trying to counteract the kingside action with a center push, e5 chasing the knight back. Now, I was looking at the computer evaluation, and it said that this was a good move, but objectively, I think knight to e8 might be a little better, just because, or at least practically better, just because black eventually wants to play something like f5, and also it protects the king side a little better than the knight all the way over here, namely this g7 square. All right, so the queen comes out right away, and we see rook to e8, a blunder. Now, if you notice that black's position is rather cramped, so what he wants to do, actually the computer recommended h6, which I don't really agree with. I checked another line. The second move would have been knight takes d4, which to me makes a lot more logical sense because white is really planning to play f5 and then either bring the rook in and he'll have a bunch of pieces, and you want to basically just trade because black is very cramped over on the queen side. And so if he can trade a piece, it does bring the bishop to a more active position, but there's really nothing that white can do after black plays f5 after the trade. So the variation would have been something like knight takes and then f5 here. And now if white takes himself, then that actually allows black to get some space. So a key lesson at this moment in the game is when you're cramped yourself, you want to try to trade pieces, and your opponent should try to prevent you from doing that. And so we don't see that lesson followed here. Instead, he plays a passive move, rook to e8. And if you want to try to pause the video and guess, I would encourage you to do that now. Let's see what happens. So the sudden knight takes d5. And it makes logical sense because white wants to break through, and when you're trying to break through in a kingside attack, you have to find the most forcing moves. Now, a plan of bringing like the rook in or playing, g4, trying to, bring the last rook in, that's good too, but it's just not as powerful. If you can find forcing moves, namely, checks, captures, and then attacking moves. So it's in that order. If you can do a check, if you can capture something, namely a pawn or a piece, then you want to look at those first. And if they might seem ridiculous, but that's how you find these winning ideas. All right, so knight takes d5. Now, what do you think the follow-up is here? In the spirit of looking at all checks, captures, and threats. So the bishop could take, but also the queen could take, which is what we see. A rather shocking move, and now bishop takes check, basically driving the king out into the open. Objectively, this is a bad move because obviously black's about to get mated. Maybe he didn't see it, but at this point it's only a 5-move checkmate. Let's go back though. So instead of check and then chasing his own king out into the center, I guess the king side, he should have really went back, and then we would have seen this variation, and the discovered checks are not over. And at the end of this line, basically, white's up material. It's not too bad because black did get, 2 pieces for a rook, but he's down 3 pawns, and it's definitely losing. All right, so let's go back here. But that would have, prevented him from being mated and given him some more chances. So check. Now the king comes out. You just want to look for checks. This is the next obvious check. Bishop check. And now we see a slightly longer checkmate with g3. But actually there was a 3-move mate with knight to e6, which would have been... Obviously, it's a very desperate move, bringing this bishop out, trying to pin it, but there's really no good move. Look at this crazy situation. Not only attacking the queen, which, if the queen wants to move, then it's definitely over very quickly after g3 and then knight to f4 check, which is unstoppable. But look at all these pieces. So in this specific position, we didn't see knight to e6, but even in this position, black is up a queen and a piece. And, okay, he has those pieces, but what he doesn't have is activity. All these pieces are completely inactive. I want you to notice this. That's why I'm always pointing out this stuff, because this is how you learn chess. You want to see these positions and then instantly be able to evaluate them as no activity. And then you want to prevent yourself from getting in these situations. All right, so instead we see g3 and then a slightly longer checkmate with the rook, check, and then discovered would have been rook to h4. But actually, he resigned at move 20 after rook to f4 check. The slightly shorter checkmate, instead of g3 check, would have been knight to e6, bishop, and then, as I said before, knight to f4 check. Now, I love these miniatures because they're very educational. You're not going to get miniatures like this all the time. That's where they're quite special. But they really do teach you how your opponent can go wrong and how you can prevent that from happening to yourself. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on Wednesday. I'm really planning to make a 14-day chess challenge. I'm not, totally committed to it, but it would start February 1st if I do it. I'm not sure, what people prefer. If they prefer me just, analyzing random games, obviously I don't make these videos just for myself, but I do enjoy making courses like that because, it's more focused and I can kind of clarify my own ideas. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching ChessDiagnostic. I encourage you to subscribe and hit the bell so you receive all the notifications when I release a new video. If you want to support the channel, you can do so through PayPal, cryptocurrency, or you could check out the ChessDiagnostic apparel shop where I have all kinds of designs that I made myself for t-shirts, hoodies, and I'll add new designs weekly. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the future. Everywhere that you want to.